Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records of cash. We laughing, we drafting the passion to vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Conscious is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magic, let's passing it. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
A good morning, and Swearians, woo crew out there, listen up. Your favorite podcast listener, our number one fan, Margaret McCarahan, ladies and gentlemen, has chosen to take one of my healing classes, which means we are deep in it, okay? We are next leveling. Fans of the show, you too could be getting 2 hours of healing with this bitch from multi-dimensional craziness every week.
By this bitch, we mean Katie, not Margaret.
Correct.
Katie's a bitch. Self-proclaimed.
And, oh my God, it's so fun that she's in there. And I was just like, it all happened kind of last minute. And she's a delight to have in there. I'm sure she's listening to us right now. Margaret, you're a delight. And we had a fun time because after, we had like a particularly esoteric, high vibe, crazy, preachy, light, dark wars conversation, and then a profound energy healing in our first class of this round. After which I Facebook messaged Margaret from the roof of my building waiting for Squeezil to take a shit and was like, so Squeezil's shitting. I'm waiting for her to take a shit. And she wrote me back, messaged me back and was like, can I just say how fun it is that you go from the most evolved esoteric shit I've ever heard, where I'm like, this woman is a priestess on earth. How do we get to be in her presence, to her dog is defecating and I'm hearing about it. She's like, I can't believe you have a dog. Which brings me to who shits. And then you talk about it. Which brings me to, I forget that any of that is weird. Any of it is unique or a thing. I'm just like, I'm just a lady. I had eggs this morning. I'm tired. My ankle hurts. Yes, I could talk to God. And also I like feces. It's all one thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, not that Margaret doesn't get that. It's just funny when someone calls you out on what they think is special about you. And you're like, I'm just racing through traffic to get to my audition. And people are like, you're an actor? And you're like, I just had to get the hair right. And now I got to say these words. You know what I mean? You're just like in your life. But then people's reflection of your life is sometimes such a delight.
Yeah.
To be seen through someone else's eyes of like, what you're doing is cool to me.
Well, I couldn't do this podcast if you weren't that person. Like, there's no way if you were just a living in the light, or which doesn't exist. Let me just, as far as I understand it, that would be a lie. Maybe.
Well, but to be fair, if you had, let's say, an Enneagram 2 person here who was like also not a comedian and not as traumatized as I've been.
Where the source of all the comedy is.
Correct. They might be just like love and God. For example, I had an astrology session recently where I had during the thing, a lot of times I kept going, oh, this is a person who got to spirituality through like just their mom loved them and their mom was spiritual and spirituality is nice. And why wouldn't you? And God is light and light is good. And I was like, oh, right. Different strokes.
Different pathways.
Folks. Yeah.
I was talking to someone we both know. I'll say her name because it's fine. I'm not telling any secrets. Do you remember Lo from Feet First?
Yes. Oh my God. I love her. So she's
finally started listening. And we were on a call with our boss yesterday, and she was like trying to tell him that he'd like it. I was like, I'm not sure that's true, but great.
Who? Cloutier?
Yeah, Dave.
Oh, no. He will not like it at all.
But he might love it. But here's why, and this is what I thought was interesting. She did not once speak about the like woo-woo aspect of the show, and she loves it. Oh. She was like, it's just like hanging out with Katie and Cassidy for 2 hours and just listening to them talk about shit, and it's so fun to just be hanging out with these two goofballs.
Aww.
And I was like, oh, that's a reason to listen?
Right.
Not because, I mean, the other stuff is part of it, but like she wasn't even focusing on that, and I thought that was interesting.
That's really
like
cool.
She was selling it to somebody as just like armchair expert, or like a place where people just get together and talk about shit.
1,000,000%. Like yesterday, I had just on that tip to what you're saying, and thank you, Lo. I'm so glad you're listening. God, I love that woman.
Yeah,
she's
awesome.
One of those people who there are people in your life where you're like, I fucking adore you. Why are we not hanging out all the time and why are we not best friends? And there's no answer to the question. It's just it didn't happen or it isn't. Yeah, or just like whatever. Life is weird or who knows.
Well, Lo was the first person to bring sort of woo-woo at all into like our Feet First vibe, the company that we have both worked for and I still work for.
Yeah.
Great company. We do events. And I remember arriving at an event, you know, in our 2 vans and before we start setting up and running around and being all manic, she's like, great. All right. Everybody get together. And she like basically had us do a little circle of like breath and like, all right, let's set our intentions. And I was like, what's happening?
Oh, I love her.
And nobody questioned it. It was great. Of course we did that because why wouldn't we? We love each other.
She's the best because she's also a sassy motherfucker. Like if you bullshit around.
And then she's also full of shit.
Yeah.
She's Katie Rubin.
She also like doesn't suffer fools, which I'm a big fan of. She'll be like, that thing that dude did, bullshit. And I'll be like, fucking up top, sister. Now let's breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, love her.
Big ups on Lo. You just got a shout out in the program and you're not even on the thing yet. What's it called?
Patreon.
Maybe soon. Lo, welcome.
Lo, get on the Patreon. Okay, wait. I wanted to tell you 2 things. Margaret is in class. Holy shit balls. And oh boy. This one's more gossip and deep cuts.
Uh-oh.
And it's about kind of like polyamory as part of, it's kind of poly-e. And I want to talk about it. Break it down. I just did it while you were doing it.
No, I made space. Zoom is weird because like we can't time it out. We can't get together on our harmonies.
Don't you? God. I mean, I think honestly my favorite part of every Feet First gig we ever did. It's 12/12, by the way. Fuck, every time I catch the goddamn clock these days, I'll talk about the 1s and the 2s in a second. And it relates to Feet First, of course.
Because they're a DJ company, so they're on the 1s and 2s. Hey! Originally a DJ company.
True.
Now, less so.
I recently voice memoed Scott Lifton at length, like randomly. I was at a park and I was like, here's my entire life story in a series of voice memos. How are you? And he was like, okay, hi, Katie Rubin. Let's talk on the telephone. And I was like, that's what people do. Anyway, I love that fucking guy. Feet First, 1s and 2s. What the fuck was I going to talk about? Oh, my favorite part about Feet First gigs was always the van ride to the thing and after the thing. Because that's a group of crazy creative weirdos who you're just going to dick around with at high levels. But then you would get to the gig and have to like do the job. And I was not about it. You know what I'm not about? Now that I'm free, what I'm not about is being bossed around and like it matters on things that I can't personally invest in. Like I have a real hard time if I'm not invested actually in an authentic way and you tell me do it like this, I'ma say no. Now, That's not good employee behavior. That's terrible. It's just not why I'm not an employee very often. But it's like it was actually a big part of like Al-Anon recovery stuff for me to finally get to like, okay, nobody's wrong here. I just can't be told what to do when I'm not invested in like the chicken throwing game. I can't be told.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did the chicken throwing differently than you wanted me to do the chicken throwing.
Particularly when it's like your buddy in the van who you're doing dick jokes with and then she flips into chicken throwing boss mode. And it's like, no.
Can't.
Also, if it were like, hey girl, maybe the chickens happen like this instead of like that. Oh, okay, good call. But like, it's real important and you're, no.
You've got to do it this way.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but that does bring me to, oh God, I'm wanting to tell so many secrets today. I got to be careful. So many secrets are in my mind. I want to share them all, but it's wrong.
Yeah. Nope.
I won't do it.
Keep them to yourself.
Boundaries. I have some. Okay. I'm thinking about how to tell this story in a non-incriminating way to anyone involved. Okay.
I don't think you can. You've already named somebody.
No, now we're leaving Feet First. Fully.
Oh, okay.
We've fully left Feet First land.
Gotcha.
I would love to tell some stories there, but I'm not gonna. God, I want to. I'm not gonna. Okay. So wrong. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and be fully transparent about this because I think I can and it doesn't harm anybody. And I've already discussed it with the person involved. So Newman Manfredson was supposed to come visit.
Right.
We talked
got that
about
whole
this last
crisis
time.
Story.
Correct. Yes. Yesterday I had a reading with a buddy of mine who I trade with, right? I do Akashic record reading for her and healing work. She does readings for me. She gave me a lot of good, juicy shit about what to focus on, including Cassidy Jamal Jackson, Malcolm Jamal, Warner Brown. We need to get back on our writing thing.
I've been thinking that too.
I mean, she was like, they will not leave me alone. Do you have like a friend and you talk and you say words out loud and you guys wrote a thing? Are you still writing that thing? And I was like,
damn.
Cassidy? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. Write it down. Make sure. You guys need to write. Are you writing? She wants me writing every day, all the writing. That's a whole other topic. And I'm gonna now, because of what happened that I'm about to tell you. It was so validating of the entire reading. Anyway, she said to me, did you just have like a friend, but it was like sexy and he was gonna come visit you and is a friend, but is it a friend? And I was like, yes, I did. And she was like, so there's something not being told truthfully there. There's something not right. And I was like, huh? Because that's not Newman Manfredson. He's not a liar. He's not a liar. He's not a...
Right.
So I'm like, huh? Are you sure they're talking clearly? Because no. She was like, yeah, there's something really being withheld. There's a dishonesty. And also it's good that he didn't come, because if he had come, you'd be distracted by it. But then he wouldn't tell you the true thing. And then that fucks with you and it's a distraction from your life and you got shit to do. And I was like, what the living what? And it really threw me because we spent an hour and a half together. She gave me all this detailed stuff about my purpose and my work and everything about, and I was like really like blown away and taking notes and invested, and everything resonated except that piece. So it bugged me so much that I later checked in with Newman Manfredson and I was like, so is there anything you're not telling me about like the trip or like what's going on with you or something that you're like, should I tell her? Shouldn't I tell her? You know, you're allowed to date people because we're like not together, and what's up? And then he said, God, I'm debating how much to get into this. The short version is he said like, there's this girl I've hung out with a couple times and nothing's happened, but he wants something to happen. And I was going to tell you when I got to your house. And I was like, what? Like, first of all, now this is where I want to have this conversation. Remember, he's flying from Colorado to Pennsylvania to be with family, not getting tested, and none of them did. I'm having to crawl up his asshole to be like, can you get a test? Can you get a test? He gets a test. Did you get the results? Did you get the results? No communication. Finally, results come. He can't come because he's got COVID. The whole family has COVID. Duh. I'm mad. Now he's in Pennsylvania. Now the plan was to drive 3 hours to see my ass. Now he's going to drive 3 hours after flying across the country and then tell me, oh, by the way, there's another chick and like, we're kind of going to bone soon, but we haven't. Is that cool? Here's my beef. What if you get to my house after all that travel and all this stuff and I'm not down? I'm like, no, what? No, I don't want to. What if that's not my jam? What if I'm not cool with you boning two people at once? Now, I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but there's no consideration of me if you just show up, because then I can't say to you, I feel like I'm in a corner now where I have to go, well, no, I don't want to do that. But now we're just going to sit here and be buddies when we've been like sexting and leading up to this event and there's all kinds of sex talk and there's plans for sex. And now you're in my living room announcing this thing that changes the dynamic potentially. What am I supposed to do? Say like, you should go, and now he's going to, drive 3 hours back to Pennsylvania? Like, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I have a very different framework around it because of what you opened with, which was, it's fine for you to date other people. You can tell me anything.
Yeah, but
you led with, let me just finish that thought, which is you seem to, with me just now, you led with that framework already exists. That's already one of our agreements.
No, it's not. I'm telling you that right now.
But you guys didn't have that agreement already.
No. Let me explain. We broke up. We're not together. He could do what he wants, and so can I. That is not a question on the table. I'm not saying don't fuck some other lady. I'm saying if you're going to fly across the country and drive up 3 hours, and I don't know that there's another lady in the mix, and then you tell me in my living room while we're about to like whatever, I don't think that's very considerate, because I'm a human mammal. I'm going to have some feelings about that. I'm going to have some feelings. If he had said to me from Colorado or Pennsylvania, hey, I should give you a heads up, kind of seeing this chick, there's stuff going on, but it hasn't started, but it's going to start. Do you still want to be sending me these naked pictures of your fucking tits? That gives me choice to say, thank you so much for letting me know. Good point. I'm going to pause on the tits for a second. and think about it. 2 days later, knowing me, I'd be like, here's my tits. I don't care. Tits all day. Because you considered me and we had a talk that gave me agency in the process. What he did was meet a lady, keep sexting me, fly across the country, plan to tell me about the lady while sex is happening, after sex. No. I would, even if we were like broken up, had an agreement about polyamory, all of that, I would have still said to him, hey, before I come out there, I feel like I should tell you, boning 3 guys, pregnant, ready to bone you. I want you to be number 4 and you're going to raise the baby. I would tell him before I got there. Why? To give him choice in the matter. He gets to go like, if you're boning 3 dudes, I love you and stuff, but like, maybe let's not bone. Or, you know what? I don't give a fuck who you bone. Let's bone. He has agency. I would do that for him because I would think about him. Does he want this? Does he not? Because we have not laid the groundwork for, if we're broken up, but you're coming here and we're going to bone, what are the terms? We don't have any terms.
Right. So that's the key right
Yes.
there. This is the key to everything, is that as I understood it when you first started talking, that you guys already kind of knew what was up.
Fair enough.
So that is right there, the key that we need to always have, sort of pre-laid out. And I agree with you that that's the ideal version of how that should have unfolded. Okay. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
I agree with you. That would have been preferable.
Okay.
I do see the framework in which one might think, oh, the more considerate version of this is to be, looking you in the eye and holding your hand, not like shooting you a text that says boning somebody.
How about pick up the phone, call me on the phone?
Yeah, that's also better. I agree with you. I'm just saying, I get the idea of, I want to do this in a conscious way. And in my head, the conscious way is to do it with you in human form. I think it's not, I agree with you. It's, for you, that would not work at all. And he probably, and most of us should know that a better choice is to give a much farther a little more lead time on that whole, on that whole thought.
Because now you're in my living room and if I kick you out,
right,
or if I go like, I don't want to have sex, let's just be buddies
then it's just awkward for everybody. It's not a smart choice.
It's awkward for everybody.
And it's also not knowing what he thought the agreements might have been prior to that. He might have had a different frame of those.
That's right.
Agreements.
That's fair.
But I don't know, because I'm not in his head. I guess I'm saying I don't think he was being like inconsiderate. I think he was being considerate in a...
Well, you're projecting that.
In an awkward way. Right.
You're assuming that. I hope that's true.
I'm assuming that.
I don't know that that's true. So far, what he said to me is, I was afraid to bring it up. I'm coming to you, Des, in 1 second, Desmond. He said, I was afraid to bring it up, and I'm really sorry, and I feel bad, and you're right, I should have told you. This whole time I knew I should have told you. Because we didn't have ground rules, and we were sexting a lot. So that starts to build an intimacy where, if that intimacy is building, for me, I'm telling you what's going on with other dudes, so you have a choice.
Right.
So it is inconsiderate. I think it is inconsiderate, even if what he's doing is, I want to be considerate by being in the room. If you don't give me lead time, I'm in the room shocked, and now my 3 weeks of sexting is leading to a fully different moment than what the sexting suggests it's leading to.
Right. Also, your mic has gone flaccid. I just want to point out. It lost its erection.
All right.
Your mic is flaccid. He was just writing that note.
Oh, that's great.
That's what he wanted to say.
Is that it?
Funnily enough, I was butting in for a comment, and then that's when I saw your mic going flaccid. So then I had to like really double down. Big wrinkle. Do you think he had COVID?
Okay, now we're talking for real. Because here's why. That's a great fucking question. I do because here's why I do, but it's a good question. I do because he's not at work right now. They made him take a week off to isolate, or so he's telling me.
Well, and you said he's not a liar, and what he did was not lie to you. It was a sin of omission. It was
correct,
which is different than a lie. And if I think you trust that if he tells you something, it's true.
Although now this is what's happened. My trust is being eroded because the entire time he was here, he was not communicating with me about did he get the test.
Yeah.
He was not communicating about when he was coming. He was not communicating about any fucking thing. And I had to pull it all out of him because he was too afraid to talk like a grown-ass man. Now, this shit he's afraid to tell me, so I have to pull it out of him. Now, psychic friend said, also, I think he could have come to see you. I think there's something not true about coming to see you. And I was like,
Interesting.
what? Now, that is a place that I haven't had and I want to know what made you ask that in a second, Des, because that is so upsetting to me that if I find out he could have come and he lied about COVID, or there's some version where he could have come up here, something like that, dead to me. I think dead to me. Dead, murder, death. Not murder, death, but like fully can't trust you now. Did you just lie to my face?
That's what I'm saying. Like the difference between that and what happened in an awkward space and what might be unfolding with what you're saying here. Those are night and day. Like those to me, to my framework, like, you know, even you were saying like in the poly framework, like, yeah, that was a clumsy version of not figuring out agreements. Whereas if any actual lie was told, that's a gigantic gulf of a rift.
So thank you. What makes you think that? What made you ask that, Des? Because she said it and I was like, I can't even hear that. I can't even believe that's possible.
I would like to think that I'm the guy that's just laying it all out on the table and telling you mid-December that I've met this woman in Colorado. I like her. We're getting close. I don't know what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But I think there's definitely a version of me where I'm like, well, I got this hot girl in New York that I know I can hook up with. We've hooked up before. This is going to be sexy, but I got this new relationship that I don't really want to mess up. And just all of that, you know, and then he's got the holiday mess. He's trying to be present for family. And he's got these two sides where it's like, well, I would love to just go see Katie, but I'm not going to be with Katie. That's been solidified.
Right.
And so would I rather lie to Katie, or would I rather go back to this potential long-term relationship and tell her that, oh, by the way, does he have any history of polyamory? Like, is this something he's good at?
Good at? No, clearly. But here's the thing. Here's the next thing I have to share, which is that part of, in his mind, what he said with me was why he didn't say anything was because she's poly. She's poly. And so in his mind, he was like, it's okay then. I'm allowed to make out with you and her.
We're in a poly framework. You're like, I get to be part of that.
Yeah, I go, cool for her and you. Now, that's where you say to me and involve my ass so I get to choose, etc. I said to him, like, I don't give a fuck if she's poly. You got to ask me if I am.
Right.
I'm involved. It's my vagina.
100%.
Fuck you. Okay, so you're saying, Des, but I want to track what you're saying. You're saying that, like, wait, how did that get you to COVID, that he might have made up the COVID thing?
The idea of me being in his situation and just the freaking out of what to do. We have this framework in our society right now where there's this socially acceptable disease you can get that can keep you from hooking up with people. And especially because it took him so long, like you really had to push him to quote unquote get the test, maybe, quote unquote get the results of the test, maybe. And that whole time he's like, well, maybe I should just go get the test. Maybe I do have it. And then all of this is solved. But what if I don't have it? Then I still have to go see her. Then we have to have this uncomfortable conversation in person. And just finally that panic, and he let it go too far. And by the time it went way too far, the big COVID lie was the easiest way just to wipe it out of his brain for the next week, which obviously leaves a shitstorm in the future, but that didn't concern him on December 28th.
Now, the only reason I'm already like, oh boy, I'm like, oh, getting ready for that to be a thing. Oh boy. But before it's a thing, the only reason I could get on board with it's not a thing is since he's been home, he's either, I'm going to calm down. I need to calm down right now. He's been telling me he's off work. His buddy at work is having to cover for him. Thankfully, it's slow at work. The government is paying for his week of not working. Like, he's got details about how he's not at work right now. So either he's making up detailedly elaborate bullshit to justify an earlier lie. Details. A lot of details over days. Or he just has COVID and he's not.
I just want to put out, this is just because it's relevant to what we've always talked about, which is we have just spun a 7 different narratives
Exactly.
for someone else.
Exactly. I know.
On someone else's behalf. I know we know that, but I just want to say that out loud, that we're actually not saying this is what he fucking did, this fucking asshole.
No, nobody thinks that.
We're saying, here are some narratives that we can spin, none of which we actually know.
I'm thinking of texting him right now and saying, like, hey, so is there anything else? Like, do you have COVID for sure? Like, I feel like texting him right now.
No, you need to talk to him in a real framework. I think anything else feels anything else feels to me like just poking at a thing that isn't, like, you need to talk to this person with real words because you have spun a narrative now.
After he potentially lied.
Yes, 100%.
Send him the link. Send him the Zoom link.
100% after he potentially lied, because potentially lied is the narrative you are spinning.
I know. I'm not confused about that. I hear you. Okay. I will talk to him.
But this is the whole point. Every one of these narratives, we always have to, we've learned 100 times, 1,000. Yeah. Well, 80, we've learned 87, however many fucking episodes we've had.
I know.
That the only right answer is to actually explore the truth of the narrative.
Of course. I know, of course. But I don't think that means I'm not allowed to say, like, hey, is there anything else you're not telling me in a text?
Sure. I just, I feel like that's a halfway measure.
I know. If he says yes, you better believe we're getting on the phone.
Right.
But if he says no, then it's an easy solve. There's no narrative to believe in. Either way, I want to talk to him. I'm just saying, I don't think sending one quick text means I'm not going to talk to him on the phone. Because you're right, it should be a more of a real talk. And I think for me, once he admitted it and then like apologized, I sort of said I like was too angry to say anything rational, so I just haven't responded. I've been like,
right,
okay, cool, glad we're there. And now I'm going to go to sleep because if I say any words to you, they're not going to be nice words. So I need a minute to be a better person.
I just feel like text, especially in something that's very important, even the use of a period is going to change.
Yeah.
Wait, did he? Okay, because, well, he said it without a period. He put an exclamation point on it. That's too, that's all. That's my whole reason. Like, even any texting, once it reaches a certain point, it just becomes actually counterproductive because we can read too much into how texts happen.
Yeah, for sure. It's the what I'm left with is because my friend who was so psychic was correct about there was something untruthful. And she also said the thing about, I think he could have come to see you, but said he couldn't.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, she was right about the first part. So now I need to know.
Yeah.
This is like real time mid-action drama here, folks, that we are providing you for free. Get on the Patreon page. So that happened. We'll report back more about that in the future. The main takeaway was from this reading with my friend was there was a lot of stuff about the future and work and my stuff I do and that was really great and encouraging, and including this writing stuff of like, she was like it was really interesting because from her lens, my dad's stepmother, who is passed, was the one, she channels like dead people. Uh-huh. And she was like, so who's this cigarette smoking, straight shooting woman on your dad's side? I was like, that's Polly. That's his like effectively
her name is Polly.
Oh my God. Her name is Polly. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening?
And did you love her? Which would mean you had Poly-amory.
Oh my God, that's great. God, I didn't put that together. What the fuck? And we have to come back to the ones and the twos, by the way. Well, so Polly, my dad's stepmother, who raised him so effectively, was his mother. Like his mother, I guess, died when he was pretty young. But then Polly was like the more prevalent mom figure, passed, and like is up the Katie Rubin spiritual colon. That bitch has plans. She's like,
did you have
right.
a grandmotherly relationship with her at any point in your life?
I mean, we've met a couple times.
That's it. She wasn't like a grandmother in your life.
I mean, she was technically a grandmother in my life who we saw a couple times, but I was so young. We didn't get to develop anything that I didn't feel a lot of.
No, if you say I saw her a couple of times, that's.
I mean, I always felt like like they built into me a sense of, Polly matters and Grandpa Ed's wife, Polly, and she was always there at the things we did. But like interactions we had directly that I can remember, maybe zero. She was like in the room smoking and managing stuff. And I was like, I don't know that lady. I'm a little afraid of her, to be honest. And one of the things that made me know that that's who my friend was talking to on the other side was she said, she's telling me people didn't really like her. Nobody really liked her. Do you know who I'm talking about? And I was like, I do know who you're talking about. But it was just really fun and random to find out that Polly gives a fuck on the other side, and B is like, look, I see what the plans are here for Katie Rubin's life. Tell her she needs to do this, stop doing that, do that. It was like very clear. And Polly was a very clear kind of lady. Polly was like spreadsheets and clipboards and notes, and I'm like, I don't know, the wind and flowing and rivers. So like, it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool to have her be the one. I never in a million years would, if you had asked me like who on the other side gives a fuck and would say like, here's some guidance for you. Never in a million years.
That's interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. So that was pretty cool. The ones and the twos, by the way, is about, so 1, 2, 1, 2. So right, we talked about the ones last time, pulling, like being in a leadership position, pulling people toward love is the 1. And the 2 is connection with other people, partnerships, connection, community, togetherness. So we're talking about Feet First. We're talking about how I love the community of Feet First. We're in the vans, and then we're talking about Lo, and I'm thinking about Lo, and she is.
So that's 2.
That's the 2 is the community thing. But then the 1 is what the topic of what we're talking about is both me and Lo are in positions in our lives to pull people forward into the spirit realm or love. And we're talking about it. And then I look up and it's fucking 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm like, this is wild. Shit like this.
Oh, also, you were talking about how you don't want to be like the oneness of Feet First did not work for you.
What do you mean?
Meaning the leadership, you having to have someone else tell you what to do feels like that's a one topic.
I see. Except that
maybe I'm wrong about how that works, but
I hear what you're saying. I could see that argument. It's the 1 is really the energy of leading the culture into love or spirit, which is the opposite of what I feel like happens on those gigs. Right. So like in that sense, I relate to it. Like it just gets really, and also like,
I think I misunderstood the framework. Yeah. So it was more just that you and Lo are 1s and 2s.
Well, me and Lo are 1s. And then the 2 is like the whole spirit of the van rides.
Yeah.
And Lo, I would say, is very 2-y in general. She's like bringing it together. Connecty.
And maybe even 2-y on the Enneagram.
I wonder,
kinda,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's got such a strengthy kind of cut through-y way also.
It's a healthy version of it if it is. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know enough about her to Enneagram her, but that 2 energy is present for sure.
Yeah. The heart,
that kind of, and like doing for others and making sure everyone else is okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sweet. So we were talking about maybe this episode having a game or 2 in it. And I feel like in the spirit of the new year, it feels like a fun, festive thing to try to do.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know if you have ideas about what improv games could work in this framework.
I have a couple of maybe ideas. If you do, I would love to hear them. But I was thinking if I kind of figured that you were like, let's play improv games. And then I was going to be like, okay, what would actually work in this context?
Yeah.
That's there's something about our 2 personalities in that one.
That's real.
Fucking let's do it. I don't know. It'll be fun. I'm like, I don't know. Geez, really? Here we go. I love the idea. And then I'm like, but in practicality, what's the...
How?
I mean, we could definitely, we could go into some old school, like, because they're conversational and we can't like do edits and stuff on our sweep edits on a stage.
Yeah.
Because it's audio. Maybe we do some more like short formy conversation based games, like, an alphabet thing or a
one word story,
or three, what is it called? I mean, alphabet's a good start. And I kind of feel like it would be fun if we gave ourselves a scenario around.
I love it.
Me healer, you client or something.
Yeah.
Session conversation.
Oh, that's good.
We could start with that. We could just begin.
Could you be the healer and I'll be the client?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Me healer, you client. 100%. You don't get to be the healer in these conversations.
Oh, thank God in heaven. I don't want to be ever again.
And all we need from Desmond would be, you know what? We need 2 things from Desmond, from our suggestion machine.
Whose?
Oh, he's giving us. Wait, whose camera froze? We're good. Okay.
No, I Googled virtual improv games
Oh.
just to give us some ideas.
Oh,
But
I see.
While I was
Oh, that's
Googling
fun.
that, you guys were figuring it out in
I
real
see.
time.
This is a game called Your Camera Froze.
Sorry, that was mean of me.
Oh, that is actually funny. That's that's similar to should have said or new idea or new choice.
I love it. We should play that after.
We should definitely do a new choice.
Okay.
But yeah, so what I was going to ask from Desmond would be a trauma that we are going to visit. And don't make it too gnarly. Come on. Let's give it.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm going for humor.
That has to come up at some point during the
Okay.
Anal fissure.
Yeah, tell us now what the suggestion is. We just have to work it in at some point during our conversation.
Indigestion.
The trauma of it, or the issue that we're solving through spiritual healing of indigestion, and that is on brand for all the answers. And just a letter that we're going to start with.
Of the alphabet.
D of the alphabet. Okay, so we can wrap around a couple of times.
Sweet.
We just got to end on D again at some point.
That's what she said.
Yeah, we're going to end on D.
All right, I'm ready. Are you ready? Dr. Cassidy, I'm so happy to see you.
Every time you call, I have to remind you I'm not actually a doctor. That would be an inappropriate use of language. I am you can call me Reverend or Mahat, which is a made-up word that I have made up to title myself.
For the listener to understand, we forgot to tell them every time one of us talks, we have to start with the next letter of the alphabet. That's the whole game. So we started on D, we're going E, F, and I just did F brilliantly because I included you all in it. But I'm going to go back and do F in the scene. Is that fair? Frankly, it's a little disconcerting that you've made up a title for yourself. I mean, as a spiritual person myself, I feel like that's a little creepy.
Good. Feel into that. Feel deep. Where is that sitting in your body? I hear a sigh, a deep sigh of relief coming from you. That's wonderful. Now I want you to settle in and find out which center it is sitting and describe the color.
Jewel blue, and it's in my heart chakra.
Know this, that your heart chakra is blocked, and it is the place in which I will place my Maha-he energy, also made up. It's based on many different traditions. The Maha-e energy is where I will focus my attention in your heart chakra.
Let me see if I'm clear.
Just a second. You skipped a letter. No, you did not.
Let me see if I'm clear. You're going to correct me on letters incorrectly, and you're going to put some kind of creepy energy that I don't know what the energy is that has a fake name into my heart chakra?
Maha-a.
No. I reject this idea. I just met you. This is our third session.
Okay. How would you most prefer to proceed?
Please do not talk in that breathy spiritual fucking tone. Don't do that.
Quite a relief to let go of that shit. Oh, Jesus. I'm so sorry. I was channeling Maha-Eric, and he's an entity that sometimes comes through when called upon, and I am now going to release him.
Really?
So true. So true.
Tell me more about that.
Usually he comes through when I have a client who thinks they know more about spirituality than I do. So he is there to kind of break the ice, usually.
Very interesting. I think it's clear that I do know more about spirituality than you. Well, Xanadu, the film. When I first saw Xanadu, I had a moment of clarity. The moment where the ice skating rabbits happen.
Yes. Let's talk about that. I feel I'm sensing that we're honing in on your problem right there, Xanadu. Yes.
Zac Efron is not in that film, but there's an actor in that film who looks vaguely like him. That actor who ushers the ice skating rabbits into the cage in the section, the disco section, the sex disco. You know what I'm talking about?
Actually, I feel like I've seen a different film, but proceed.
Boy, you are not great at listening, are you?
Can I ask what the problem is?
Doctor, when I'm telling you about Xanadu, the film, and how Zac Efron's...
Eric's coming back. You just called me doctor, and he needs to correct you. So here I am.
Fuck.
To correct you. I am no longer...
Fuck you, Eric.
Good. Let it out.
Help me, God. Help me out of this horrifying situation.
I think we're onto something here. This is good. Release that. Where does it sit?
Just be less of a dick.
Kill the dick in me. Kill the dick in me.
Loosen the grip you have on ridiculousness, and maybe you'll have a fuller client roster.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I've gone in a poor direction.
Nobody likes a breathy spiritual teacher.
Okay. I'm not sure now who the client and who the healer is right now.
People say that to me a lot. I understand.
Quickly, while we have opened the emotional space between us, I want you to return to that space that you need to visit. What is that space?
Right. Okay. What I was trying to say about Xanadu is when I saw that film for the first time, I was 16, and the skating rabbits and Zac Efron's twin, but Zac Efron wasn't even in the zeitgeist yet. Okay. But I saw Zac Efron in my third eye in the future while looking at the actor playing the rabbit skating hoarder guy. And that was my first transcendental experience. So I was spiritual even then when I was 16 watching Xanadu. So all I'm saying...
Spiritual even then.
Thank you.
At 16.
Thank you. Truth.
Uh-huh. I think now we can return to the problem at hand.
Victory. Okay. The problem at hand is that given how spiritual I am, it makes me very uncomfortable that the fact that I was at temple yesterday meditating with the Maharaji who came from India yesterday. This happened. And I farted in the middle of the meditation. There must have been 50 people in the room.
What? You just farted? Wow.
Exactly. Period.
Your discomfort in the gut region, and which was able to release in the presence of a higher being, indicates to me that that your discomfort is connected to your fear of your higher self.
Zyrtec is good for digestive stuff, right? Or is that
also an option? Just take some pills and fart it out.
Bro, I prefer that. I don't need to get that deep. Maharaji's like a nice hot guy. I don't need to like be transformed by him. It was just like cool being in the room with him. I feel like a couple Zyrtec and I'll be set.
Cool. That'll be $235.
Done.
And scene.
Oh my God, I'm proud of us. Oh my God. Let's clap for us. Come on. Yes.
I hope that was fun for y'all.
God, I love that so much. I miss improv with every part of my being. I don't know what it is that I never get sick of Alphabet Game. I never get sick of it. I think, actually, I just realized that I think what it is it has just enough constraint. Like the constraint of having to come up with a word that's the next letter of the alphabet meets all the freedom after that. It's just enough of a constraint to give you a structure.
Right.
But it doesn't limit you.
Exactly. Good use of X. Nice. There's so little that one can do with X that Xanadu enters the game. Most times people are playing that game.
Xylophone, X-ray, Xanadu. What else is there?
Xerxes, just like the name.
That's right.
But you did the X-Acto knife exactly. That's how you spell X-Acto knife is with an X, not an E.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
the brand. Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
Shit, I could be wrong. I don't care. It matters this much. I'm making a little tiny.
Are you practicing being not a white guy?
I'm practicing that all the time.
I know.
Oh, God, I cannot. I refuse to have a fact, something stated as fact if I don't also couch it with, or not.
Or maybe I don't know anything at all, ever.
Oh, I got in a fight with my friend the other day on the stupidest subject. He's the only friend that, well, you sometimes I'll yell at you, but very little, very rarely.
Yeah.
This friend is the only friend I will full on just be like, well then, fuck you. And just, it's because he's my closest, dearest friend in the world. And there's something,
Jeff?
he can trigger me in ways that are absurd. Absurd. I'm just going to tell you because it's relevant.
I can't wait.
We have our gaming sessions where we just talk about, we get together and we play video games with this group of 4 friends, video games or board games, whatever, online. And we always shoot the shit for a little while beforehand. And he started going off on Marvel movies. But it's not so much that he doesn't have to like them. I don't give a fuck if he likes them or not. But it's the way in which he basically, they are completely devoid of anything and they are a useless waste of space. And he's stating it as fact.
Wait, what is the thing that is a useless waste of space?
Marvel movies in general. All the Marvel movies are, and this is how I hear it, because it's how he speaks. It's when he goes on a rant, which he does, he rants.
Yeah.
No room for anybody else to speak for a good minute.
Right.
Like no breath. You know, I'm going to say a thing and then I'm going to proceed from that thing, but you don't get to call out that original thing. I'm going to go forward from this point. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He was just ranting about him not liking and thinking that they were stupid and useless and a waste of space and emotionally devoid of any content.
Right.
And
I so disagree, by the way. Just
right. That was the basic thing is I was like, so I got like, well, I guess I'm just a 12-year-old stupid boy if I like them, I guess. That's what you're saying. What you're saying is I'm a complete moron. So I guess I'm a moron and your best friend is a moron. That's cool. You have no respect for my intellect because clearly I must be completely devoid of anything if I like them.
Yeah.
Like that's how.
Right.
And he didn't say anything about me, but it was because he stated it as irrefutable fact. He didn't say, I just don't like them at any point. He said they are completely devoid. He never said I think or I feel like or they don't do anything for me. He literally states the entire thing as irrefutable fact.
I get it.
And which makes me think that he is now labeling me and anybody else who disagrees with him and he's being elitist. And I blow it up to this huge thing. Like I had a fight with my best friend in the world because he doesn't like Marvel movies.
Right. I hear you.
But I was double triggered. I'm triggered by his statement of fact, not opinion.
Uh-huh.
That.
You've said that a lot.
Yeah, I know. I guess you don't like how I said it. Yeah.
No, you've just said it a lot and I get it. I hear you.
I'm just wrapping it all up into a bow. Yeah. And.
Okay.
And I'm triggered by his, by taking up all the air with a rant.
You know the thing about, I hear you.
Yeah.
I would be too. Agreed. Yes. You know the thing about how we get most triggered by the things that we do?
100%.
I'm the queen of this.
Yeah.
I am not innocent of this. I'm just like, this one is, it's so fun. It's just when it's not you.
Yeah.
Just for a minute. Just for a minute to not be the one I'm looking closely at. Anyway, it's just ironic because that is the thing that you and I struggle with is I think oftentimes you feel like I dominate the space and take up all this air. And I'm like, are you kidding? You're the king of that. And then I'm sure we both actually do that. We both do that.
100%.
But I can't believe it when you're doing it. And then when I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm only doing it because you do it so much. I have to do it to exist. And you're like, no, that's how I feel.
Right.
And then I think I have extra ammo because I'm a woman. And I go, yeah, but you have to understand that all day, every day for women everywhere across the planet, this is happening. And so when one of us stands up and actually has a voice and is like, it's my podcast, that's like a miracle. And so when you do it at all, I'm just like extra whatever because of that.
Right.
Anyway, and then you're talking about him doing that. And I'm just like, wow, that's interesting.
Well, and I feel like he does it even more than either of us have ever done it.
That's fair.
And so that's why, but it's true. The only way I'm being triggered is because it's the thing I least want to do in myself, which I do.
Oh, I see.
It's the thing that it's the thing I fear.
Yeah. You're afraid that you are that.
Yeah. It's why you hear me always putting in little or nots or, well, that's just how I think. Or maybe that's not truths. I put those in all the time because of that fear of like planting a flag.
Totally.
And then dying on that hill.
Totally. I mean, this was the thing last night when I was like, why am I actually so angry at Newman Manfredson? And then I remembered this thing. I always think of this whenever I'm angry, which is regularly, that I had a teacher who said, 9 times out of 10, when you're angry at someone, you're actually angry at yourself about something. So look at like, what are you mad at yourself about? And there's a lot I could say about that. Like that I'm angry that I didn't ask him sooner when he was coming across country if he was planning to test. I'm angry that like when we parted ways, I knew this about him, and I kind of went into fantasy and pretended like I forgot this about him. He has trouble communicating, and I don't like it. And I like went into, because he's got a pretty penis, I was like, we're gonna cuddle and it's gonna be great. And I forgot about this whole thing about him. And then now I'm mad because I pretended I don't know who he is. I did that. He didn't do that. He's still him. Anyway, none of it takes away from what I wish he had done differently, but it does make me look at, where's all this heat coming from?
Right.
What am I mad at myself about? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I looked at too, like being mad at, I'm also mad. Well, that's a different thing. There's a lot here. Anyway, I'm not going to go back fully into that, but I hear you when you talk about that. I go, you're mad. So you're mad at yourself a little bit about that you do it. So when he does it, it's like, well, I'm already mad over here at me for doing that.
Right.
So you're doing it now. So it's triple. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's plenty of other things that he does that I could be mad at, but they don't trigger me. I just go, oh boy, that guy.
I see.
You know?
Yes.
Like we do with all of our friends. But the thing that actually like launches me, like,
yeah,
is something that is a fear in myself.
Totes. Can I share one of those that I'm going flaccid again. Look at that mic. He does not want to stay firm. Just drooping around, not wanting to keep a lady happy.
Yeah.
I had a big one lately, a realization. I feel like I haven't shared this here yet, but maybe I have. You'll stop me if I'm repeating myself. But I had this, you know, when somebody, 8 thoughts at once. My therapist, who I used to see, said a thing to me that stayed in my head and has been working me ever since she said it. But I haven't been able to, I didn't have a breakthrough on it. It was like, fuck, I think that's true. Fuck, I think that's true. Fuck, I think that's true. But I'm not liberated from it yet. I can't like get it yet in my heart. I get it in my head. Like we talked about last time, like the journey from the head to the heart. What she said was, I was saying something to her about trying to figure out like why I was getting so cranky at these entitled older white guys I was teaching at Stanford at the time. And I knew a bunch of reasons why, but there was something else I wasn't able to put my finger on. And she said to me, I told her a story and she goes, oh, so you're punishing them for their defenses. And I was like, what? And I was like, what? Like my brain exploded. And ever since she said that, I've watched myself every single time my punishing thing, that 8, like vengeful punishing thing where 8's like to punish, comes up. I try very much not to act on that, but it'll arise inside me, unlike my microphone, which just keeps going weak and flaccid and so.
It's no longer arising.
The need to punish, every time it's come up, I can't get away from that dick image.
Also,
every time
punish me.
Yeah. Somebody needs to get laid and it's me. It's really me.
Yeah.
Okay. Every time it's come up, I have realized when the punishing energy arises for me, every single time I'm wanting to punish someone for their defenses. Like when people go to their defenses, I'm so mad at them for it. And what the therapist said at the time was like, you understand that like everyone you've ever met and will ever meet forever for the rest of your life will go to their defenses before they go to their vulnerability. And I'm like, I can't live in that world. I can't live in that world. And she was like, you live in that world. And I was like, I mean, for months now, I've been wrestling with it. And I just the other day was like in the elevator of my building going, all right, let's do what we know how to do, which I could have done months ago, but just like wasn't willing apparently or ready or whatever. What am I so afraid of about that? Like who inside me is terrified if I have to live in a world where people go to their defenses before they go to their vulnerability? Like, why is that? Why do I want to punish them all so badly? And then I went, okay, mom was a constant defense. And then I remembered the 8 thing on the Enneagram about 8s do the punishing thing and the aggressive thing because they're terrified they're going to be annihilated the way they were. Like you don't become an aggressor the way I am if you weren't literally blown apart and annihilated and destroyed in some very serious way when you were young.
Right.
I mean, at least if you believe in psychology. And so I I was annihilated in several different ways by several different people, all of which happened because they couldn't go to their vulnerability. So my mother was like punitive and sociopathic forever, my whole childhood. So every minute with her felt like an annihilation of myself. I had no self. I was just there to be a reflection of her ego and appease her. And it was a very scary way to live because I was constantly on eggshells and constantly like, I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to say constantly. And so, of course, and then like I learn about my own patterns and I do all this growth work where I realize that defenses are the whole problem. And if you could just go to your vulnerability, everything is solvable. So then I start practicing that for years and years and years, and it's a lot of fucking work. And then everyone around me isn't doing that. And I'm like, wait, it's the whole way forward. It's how you don't be an asshole. How are you guys not doing that? Haven't you all awoken to the realization that, and of course they haven't. Why would they have? But then that's part of my job as a healer. Every healing class is like showing people where their walls are, where their defenses are, and then letting the light in and vulnerability and nourishing the him and him and who. But all because Valerie Rubin annihilated me over and over and over again because her defenses were so strong. So when I looked at the punishing piece, it was like, I am terrified. This young part of me, six-month-old in me, plus the abusers and the rapists and all those people annihilated me. That's true too. The 6-month-old in me is terrified she's going to get annihilated again. So if you come at me, you being any human ever, with your defenses, and I feel any inkling of a defense, that young part gets real scared. And then the protector part comes in and goes like, bad person in front of me. Bad. You're bad because you're in your defenses because I'm not going to get fucking annihilated again. Thanks very much.
Right.
So instead, I'm going to punish you and make you see it and suffer and hate yourself so that you'll stop, which doesn't work ever.
Because you're also in your defenses then.
100%. So I always have to come back to my vulnerability, which then makes me mad because I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I the one?
Why do I have to be the vulnerable one here?
Yes! Why do I have to learn this lesson over and over again, but everybody around me gets to keep their defenses?
Right. They're doing their own suffering also, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. You get to go to your vulnerability because you've learned that's because you know that is a beautiful place to be. But I also fucking hate it too. I'm with you 100%. But like, I have to constantly remind myself, like, why did I have to take the high road on that one?
Yes.
Fuck you. You take the high road once. But then you're placing yourself in competition or in comparison rather than just doing your fucking thing when you do your fucking thing. Because I can't make them do anything. I hate that. I want to make them do something.
I know. I also have looked at that a bunch of like, why am I so mad at having quote to take the higher road? And I remember being 6 years old, not exaggerating. I spilled some fudge on the carpet. It had a dark green carpet and I spilled black fudge into it. And it was like a shag carpet and that shit was going nowhere. It was in there forever in my bedroom. And my mother came in, saw it, was ragefully angry, left the room to get something to wipe it up. And I had the distinct thought at 6 years old, okay, I'm just going to apologize. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to say, I'm sorry I was wrong. And then immediately, because I knew I had to do that to appease her and make her not mad. And then immediately there was why the fuck do I have to do this? I am always the one who does this with her. I was 6. She should have been teaching my ass about anything. But instead, I already knew I had to be, let's get quiet and small so that mom can get over it. And so, of course, I'm going to be resentful because I don't get to have a voice. I don't get to say what happened. I tipped it over. I'm sorry. I don't get to say that because that just makes her more mad. Anyway, so I just was having to do grown-up shit at age 6 and already knew what, you know what I mean? I knew what would work, but I was mad that I had to do it because it didn't give me room to be where I was at. And so now I'm still punishing people for being my mom, essentially. I'm just projecting my mom onto everyone I interact with.
Well,
which is essentially what we're all doing.
That's all that's Freudian right there. Boom, bam. My mom and my dad. It's everywhere.
I mean, it's so true, though.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
It's making me also think, like, I'm zooming out and, like, seeing everything as, like, an improv scene because of the context of earlier.
Yeah.
And, like, realizing, like, okay, especially when I'm watching a decent improv. Like, if it's terrible improv, it's terrible improv, and I can't watch it. But if I'm watching something happen and I, like, watch one actor do things, maybe they're being more contrary, too contrary, and then I watch the other actor go, okay, you're going to be contrary? well, I'm going to take the high road in a sense, and I'm going to make you look even better.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, sometimes you can watch an actor, like, and you can watch the interplay of both the scene and the actors in the scene doing things.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you tend to admire the one who's making the other one look better more.
Yeah.
So you're
right.
like, I actually, you know, maybe most audiences would just be like, oh, he's really funny, the one that's being made to look better because the other actor's doing the hard work. But we as improvisers can zoom out and go, oh, I like this guy. This lady, she knows what she's doing. She's making the other one look.
Oh, shit.
Everything okay? Do you have a client?
Oh, I just made a huge mistake. Oh, fuck,
Are you late for a client?
Yes. I'm late for a class.
Hey, we're good. This was an awesome episode. Let's get together and go into the records. Maybe later this weekend.
I cannot believe I did this again.
Let's tack on a record reading sometime in the next 3 days. What do you think?
Hold on. Yes. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Okay, hanging up.
Sorry, everybody.
Get out of here.
I
love you. Bye.
I love you guys. Bye. So, we just played a bunch of improv games. Weren't those improv games fun?
That we just now played a moment ago?
Just now we finished them. Remember a second ago?
Yeah, that was great. That was fun. Cool.
I will say, like, my dream is that we play another improv game and then do the records of Squeezil, but I don't know if you're down with that.
I mean, we just got to get right into it. Like,
okay.
Boom, bam. Manoopy.
Okay. What is it? What are we playing?
Well, I think we could play with Desmond as our director. We play the game that he kind of proposed, but I have a slight variation on it. It's basically the game New Choice. You know that game? We're going to be going along, and if Desmond says ding, he basically says New Choice, or whatever signal we decide him to have. Do you have a soundboard there?
Your camera froze.
Then you say your camera froze. Then you just repeat, but you repeat a brand new idea. So if it's like, my dog has fleas. If camera froze, my dog just took a shit on the stairs. Your camera froze. Oh, my dog is allergic to eggs. Oh, that's just too bad. Your dog's allergic to eggs. Talk about
So we keep it in the world of the scene, but it's just a new choice within the world of the scene we're in.
Exactly.
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
I love this.
Just instead of having 3 mics going and you guys trying to jump in and getting cut off by something, should I flash it?
That's good.
You want to do that?
And then later on, you can edit in buzzers and dings.
Ooh, yeah.
He likes that. Okay, good.
Right.
And you know what I wish we could put in? Smells.
Nah, not on this episode, not on this podcast. We'd be hurting our people all the time.
But wouldn't that be amazing if you were driving your car and you were suddenly like, did somebody fart in this car? But it was like us doing a fart joke. No? Nobody? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Do you want to do a scene about a pet psychic?
Sure.
Just to be on brand, to lead into what we're about to do.
All right. How about this time you be the pet owner?
All right. You be the psychic. Yeah.
Yeah, just because we did
that.
Well, it's debatable. Okay. Welcome to Madam Pet's Petsicle, Pet Cycle, Pet Psychic store, where we have and another 72,000 for your popsicles. You can pay on your way out. Thank you and a good day. Ice cream and bicycles and readings for your pet. And what is your name?
Andrea? Caroline? Steve?
Hello, Steve. Have a seat here, Steve, on the beanbag chair.
Right here?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Oh, that's comfortable.
All right. Before we begin, I need you to fill out this 65-page document. Go ahead.
Okay.
Here you are.
All right. Can we just do a time jump here and pretend I've done it?
I was hoping he would freeze us there. Okay. Before we begin, could you fill out this one sentence document?
Mm-hmm.
Before we begin, could you give me a high five with a lot of vigor?
Yeah.
Before we begin, I'd like to offer you a hot toddy.
Oh, thank God. I need to relax. I'm really stressed out right now about my animal.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Now, wait. Don't even tell me. I'm getting the strong energy of llama. I'm getting the strong energy of kangaroo. I'm getting the strong energy from your auric field of a chinchilla. You have a chinchilla at home, don't you?
I do. It's my life. It's my emotional support animal,
Oh.
chinchilla.
And what is her name?
Caroline. Andrea. Steve. Her name is Steve.
Fantastic. So your name is Steve, and your chinchilla's name is also Steve.
I told you she was my emotional support animal, and I put all of my attention into her.
Wow, that's beautiful. All right, so I'm going to tap into her frequency now and just align with her soul's vibration. Give me a moment. Oh. All right. Wow, Steve, and I mean the chinchilla, is quite an old soul, very interested in philosophy and history, very interested in eating feces, very interested in napping. Now, is Steve getting... No, wait. Steve tells me that in his daily life, he's only getting 1 or 2 naps per day. Why is this?
Well, it's because whenever Steve goes to sleep, Steve is all over the spectrum gender-wise. I sometimes refer to Steve as she, sometimes I refer to them as he, and it's fine. Steve is absolutely fluid when it comes to that. But whenever Steve sleeps, I think Steve is dead, and so I panic.
And who is the person shaking Steve awake that I'm seeing? Is that you?
Yeah.
Shaking him awake each time he sleeps?
That's me, every time.
I see.
Aggressively.
All right.
Violently.
Now, I have the sense, very strong sense, that were you to purchase several of my Madam Pet Psychics popsicles, that Steve would enjoy them very much and be much healthier in their sleeping time. The popsicles are $65 each. The popsicles are $6,000 each.
That is a steep price point. That is a significant investment.
Now, let me sit with the energy of how many you need for Steve's with 12, 11, 12. You need 12 of the popsicles, 1 for each of the apostles. Are you familiar with Christianity?
I actually grew up in the Shinto religion. Yep, Shinto. No, I'm sorry. I grew up in the Buddhist religion. Nope, I was raised B'nai B'rith. Why is that funny to you?
Oh, that makes me laugh because my cousins on my father's side were all B'nai B'rith. And they were the funniest people I knew. I grew up with them. So funny. A joke a minute.
Comedy is one of the bases is it the foundation of our system.
Interesting. Now, what is this that Steve is giving me? Steve is giving me an awareness of when your female romantic partner confuses you for him. What is it that's happening there? What is that tension? Can you help me understand what that is? He gives me a tension.
Well, she often will start like talking about like really intimate stuff and using my name, and I'll have my back to her, for example, and then I'll turn around and I'll see that she is just crouched in front of the cage and directing all that conversation to, and I was like, oh, now that explains why you were sort of whispering and I could barely hear you, because that wasn't to me at all.
And so the intimacy between Denise and the intimacy between Shaniqua and other Steve is the intimacy between Janine and other Steve is deeper, would you say, than the intimacy between yourself
It appears so. It's like they're a proxy for my attention because I'm sorry, I just can't shake that $6,000 times 12. Could you do a total of that? What would that come to?
Well, math is not my... Yes, that'll be $3 million.
That seems even more than what it actually is.
I'm not a mathematician. I'm a pet psychic and popsicle salesperson.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'll total that up on my iPhone here and see if I can afford. I'll total that up on my Android phone and see if I can.
Do you mean your abacus? I notice you're carrying an abacus.
Well, I have an abacus app. It's the abacus. I have an abacus, and I find it more satisfying than just typing in numbers.
So you have an abacus in addition to the abacus you're carrying?
Oh yeah, that's my emotional support abacus. It doesn't actually work. This is what I actually wanted to talk to you about. Is
all right.
Steve jealous of my emotional support abacus?
Okay, thank you for getting to the heart of the matter. This is, in fact, the central issue, isn't it? Steve says to me quite clearly, yes, I am insulted and triggered and activated by the presence of the abacus, as well as your... Wait a minute. You have 2 other emotional support devices, do you not? You have 6 other emotional support devices, do you not?
Yeah. Would you like me to list them?
Yes, I get what 3 of them are, and I'll give them to you now. You tell me if I'm correct. And then I'll need you to tell me what the last 3 are. All right?
Okay.
The first 3, you have an emotional support cactus. I see him quite clearly. His name is Francois.
I will confirm that.
Great. You have an emotional support. It's like a blanket. It's like a pillow. It's a sweater. You have an emotional support sweater.
Yes, I will confirm that.
Fantastic. And lastly, you have an emotional... Now, this is interesting. That is an interesting energy. Sir, do you have an emotional support used condom?
Yes, I do. I do.
And you keep it in a glass case?
Well, of course. I don't...
And you keep it in a sandwich bag?
Well, somewhat. I guess you could call it that.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a Ziploc. I think of it as more of a freezer bag. It's a little more heavy duty. I'm not cheap.
Does it just live on the countertop?
I keep it in a Ziploc, and then I framed that. So it's behind glass, which is probably why you were getting jar.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Glass container. Great.
Glass
now, do you
container.
freeze it, or is it just out in the open?
No, I'm not I'm not a monster.
All right. Now, for some reason, the last 3 emotional support items that you possess they're hazy to me. I can't feel them. Can you explain that? What is that about?
Well, one of them is a lamp in the shape of a leg, like from Christmas Story.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. The second one is a ceramic space heater. Okay, let me be clear. It's more of a portable swamp cooler. Sorry, I get them confused sometimes. So it's the lamp in the shape of a leg, a portable swamp cooler, and as we've previously stated, a condom used, a cactus.
The sweater.
I'm wearing it currently, so I sometimes forget. Like when I'm in it, it's
fair enough.
Finally, the last emotional support item, in addition to my chinchilla, and as I previously identified, I'm embarrassed to say what that other one was. So
this is a safe space.
This is a safe space. Well, the final one is a single antacid. It is a single bottle of Pepto-Bismol. It is a single shard of frozen peanut brittle.
All right, handmade or machine made?
Hand. I made it, and it was the best peanut brittle ever, and I couldn't let go of all of it.
Oh, interesting. All right. Now we're coming up on the end of our time together here for today, sadly. But so I want to tie all these pieces together, and I want to leave you with the most important message that Steve gives me. Okay,
is it
right
about
now.
the abacus, the emotional support abacus that I was embarrassed to say a second ago? I just wanted to make sure.
That's what you were embarrassed about?
Yeah, it's weird.
Of course. Well, we don't carry judgment in this space. As my assistant is ringing you up for your 12 $6,000 popsicles. Ting, 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 ting. That's
That'd
the
be
sound.
$72,000.
Correct. As he's
That is 70. Well, that is 86,000 British pounds, which is the equivalent of 72,000.
Thank you for randomly calculating that for me. Now, as my assistant, interestingly, whose name is Steve, is ringing you up for your 12 $6,000 popsicles, I'm going to give you the last message that other Steve gives me now. Steve is asking...
Wait, the chinchilla?
Correct.
Because they're all named Steve. Perhaps I didn't make that clear.
All the support items?
Every single one of them.
Interesting.
But this is Steve the chinchilla. Gotcha.
All right, let me check, actually. Yes, it's Steve the Chinchilla. All right, Steve the Chinchilla says, I miss the days when the other Steves lived in the closet and I was the most important Steve for you. And you did all your Zoom improv training classes with me on your lap. Can we return to those days? And we did all of your interviews with a vampire with me on your lap. And we did all of your public masturbation with me on your lap. Can we return to those days? And if so, I promise to diminish the tensions between yourself and your female romance partner.
Yeah.
Yes?
I can do that. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. All right, let me transmit the positive energy of yes. Okay, and Steve receives it. And wonderful, we're complete. That'll be $65,000 for the hour. Something.
We got things.
Stop
as
it.
of January 1st. We have
I went flaccid during that.
That's funny. I was fully engorged, but that's what any form of creative performance does for me these days. So
Same here. Full engorgement.
one more.
Stop talking to me right now.
Okay.
We need a sound. Can we drop a sound in here that's like mine is clitoral, of course, but it's the same.
I didn't want to assume, but
all right, great. I feel like that's a really organic transition into opening Squeezil's Akashic Records, don't you feel?
I do.
Some kind of
I'm excited.
All right. I actually have we opened Squeezil's records on here before?
No, you asked a question about Squeezil, so you kind of like went adjacent to, but they were sort of through your records that I think you did it.
Okay.
I don't think you've gone just straight full Squeezil.
A Vazuzela, or whatever the fuck that's called.
Vuvuzela, but yeah, you nailed it. You got all the right syllables. I just think the emphasis was different, but I don't know.
Vuvuzela? That's
Who
what
the
it's
fuck
called?
do I know? Yeah.
Nothing. You don't know anything. What are you?
I actually don't.
Some
What
kind of
am
white guy?
A man?
Some kind of white male in America?
But yes.
Wait, but is that how it's spelled? We're going full squeeze. I should acknowledge today is the 11th of January. Oh my God, so many burps, you guys.
I don't know.
Vuvuzela?
I think so.
And I talk on here so much about the numbers and the 11s and the 12s. And last time we talked about it, I just have to take a moment and acknowledge it because today's the 11th. I don't know what to make of it at this moment in any way, except that it feels like a nice day. Feels like the energy of a one kind of day. I will say this tangentially, but maybe related. As I've mentioned before, it's 9 degrees outside in upstate New York, which is so few degrees. It's not a lot of degrees out there, but it's the sunniest, blue skyiest day in the history of time. And it's my.
It's what you said. You said all the things like if you saw that spelled, it could also be pronounced Vuvuzela, which makes it colder.
It does?
Yeah, often. Clear and cold makes it even colder sometimes because there's no like cloud cover holding the heat in.
Oh, all I can tell you is my body is so confused because it's like, let's go outside. We go outside and we die. And the dog's little anal sphincter just puckered right shut this morning, which is why we had a little poop emergency, just now.
And it's probably none of those things because it, is, I think its origin is, I don't even know what its origin is, but, when they say it in the original language, it's probably Vuvuzela or Vuvuzela or who the fucking knows.
Or it's pronounced with like a P or a Q. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Well, we're going to learn the secrets of Squeezil the Dog right now. We're going to open her Akashic Records. Yeah, didn't we? We had to do the poop emergency where she had to poop in the middle of the podcast. Anyway, it's very beautiful. It's lovely to look at. I keep going like, I'm going to put my bikini on. And nope, I'm going to put more layers on top of these layers. And I have to announce to our listeners, can I just say thank you, listeners who have messaged me concerned about my ankle. I so appreciate you. Like people just being like that I never talked to, being like, hi, how's your ankle? I'm so moved by that and touched by that. Thank you. It's so improving. I wear this boot now and I wear the thing under the boot, and then I'm still elevating and icing and doing all the things because I'm trying to be very, very smart. Like I'm trying to even though it feels better, keep treating it really well and keep going to physical therapy and keep doing all the things so that I don't, that thing where you think you're better and then you go too fast too quickly and then you're fucked. And just ask a bunch of questions. I'd also it'd be fun to hear any questions you have, Cassidy, for Squeezil's record keepers. Let's see actually, I'm very curious. Let's see what they could tell us that we don't maybe think they could tell us. I'm trying to avoid that phase. So I'm in that phase where I could just be like, I do stuff now. And I've been running errands. Today I went to the coffee shop and got a bagel and got my eyebrows waxed. And I was like, I am the most liberated, empowered person that's ever been alive on earth because I could just walk to a place with my boot on. But still, it feels really good. So anyway, that's the ankle update. Are you okay? You look concerned.
No, I actually, while you were talking, I decided to sign on to the Patreon because you were talking about people's concern for us. And I just noted that we have another.
What do Squeezil's guides know about things that we want to know about? You could ask about. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do it kind of quickly because it's easy for me. I go into her records all the time. Oh, I just love her so much. I pet her face right now. I pet her face. She's been, God damn it, does she have stinky farts lately? Oh my God. She's been eating a lot of meat. I don't know if that's why. Anyway, when my psychic friend read for Squeezil, she said a bunch of stuff. And then toward the end of the reading, she goes, does she have a flatulence problem? I go, yeah. Yeah. She goes, she's sorry about that. She's kind of laughing about it. She's like, yeah, I just kind of fart a lot. She's a little dog. Seems like she shouldn't be able to fart as much as she does. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to close my eyes here and breathe into my low belly and get into my body. All right. And because she's an animal, she's always tapped in. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Holy Spirit of God, protect me, please, from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know Squeezil the Dog's. Help me to know Squeezil the Dog in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to see Squeezil the Dog through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Squeezil the Dog have for Squeezil the Dog. And I'll just go quiet for a second. Okay, and so as I'm accessing Squeezil's Akashic Records, I'm just asking the record keepers of Squeezil to just help me spiritually here to deepen into her alignment with you. Help me feel, perceive, receive the energy of her soul in its alignment with Source. Amen. Squeezil the Dog, vibing into her records. Yeah. There's I'll just share this. Every time I get into her records, there's this it's like a small energy. She's not like the hugest energy in the world, but it's very frictionless. It's very, it has nothing on it. There's nothing on it. Doesn't feel like but it doesn't feel like pow. Like a lot of times with the star beings, for example, if I connect to the Pleiadians, they're like playful and like purple, and the Syrians are like red and strong and light and activation, and the Arcturians are like warm and fuzzy bunny slippers. Squeezil's energy is like a silent, vast, frictionless light. It's very light, but I don't know how to explain it. Kind of like, oh, here's how you get. It's like if you're in a restaurant and you go into the freezer, the walk-in freezer, and it's like a loud restaurant, and you close the freezer door. It's very cold in there, but also silent. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually like, it's not a nothing. It's actually sort of an active absence.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a cool space, like a spaciousness that is cool and it feels very complete unto itself, but it's like a nothing that has a quality. Oh boy.
I think
once
you just described nothingness and nirvana and all those things.
I like it. Beverly Anderson, who reads for me sometimes, very talented psychic healer person in Durango, Colorado, she said, you understand that's an angel in a dog body, don't you? She talks kind of like that. And I was like, yes. Yes. She's like, yeah, that's an angel in a dog body. Your team brought you that dog as protection. She does healings with you, doesn't she? I go, yep, every time she sits on my lap. All right, so we're in the records of angel with a dog body named Squeezil. I guess I want to ask her record keepers, is she an angel with a dog body? And that's a big yes. Okay. I want to ask a few things, then let's hear what Cassidy wants to know. 1, are you happy? And I get a yes. And what are the things that make Squeezil happy? I want to know if is Squeezil happy? Yes. Okay, what makes her happy? The cuddles, the snuggles, the walking, the togetherness. She likes to be together with you. Fun when the other people come by, but she likes that you're there when the other people come by. It's hard when you leave, but she likes the warm spot in the bed and the warm spot on the couch. And she just kind of hunkers down when you're gone and kind of knows you're coming back and just kind of waits. Okay, my next question is like, will Squeezil enjoy having a brother or sister? Because I'm really thinking of getting another dog. Yes.
Katie, before you continue, sorry.
Yes.
You're going flaccid again. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, son of a bitch.
When we say Katie's going flaccid, we're talking about Katie's microphone.
Okay.
Look, it happens to everybody. Point being, it actually used to happen to me with that exact same mic holder.
This has never happened to me before. I really like you. Okay, is she going to be happy with a brother, sister? Yes. Obviously, it needs to be the right dog. Yes. Okay, wow, that's cool. I can see a dog that okay, this is funny. This is Katie. I'm just talking to you, Cassidy. I've been looking at dogs online. Ugh, so interesting. And I've been like, I don't know what I want and what kind of dog. And it just has to be someone that both of us like. And right now she shows me a dog really clearly. It's a black dog. Is that the dog you want as your buddy? Yes. That is so interesting. It's very clear, like little bit pudgy, black, short-haired dog, medium-sized. Okay, well that's cool. Okay.
Oh, but like a larger, like not Chihuahua sized.
Not Chihuahua sized, correct. Like medium sized. I would consider Squeezil kind of small. And then she's showing me like a medium sized dog. Cool. Okay. Okay, now Squeezil's been having some stuff with her digestion. What kind of foods would be would be easiest for her to digest that she'll like? Because the vet told me it'd be smart to like boil chicken and make some like boiled rice, like really bland chicken, carrots, and rice. And that does read. And what else? Yeah, okay, it's like, they're like, she can have the kibble you give her, but just... I also give her, like, straight up rotisserie chickens from the store. That works, they say. The beef is harder on her digestion. If you're going to give her the beef, cut it up in tiny chunks. But try the boiled chicken with a little bit of butter and a little bit of rice and some carrots and some peas. Okay, great. This is just like practical advice about my dog. Oh boy.
You're a psychic vet. I love that the vet could also be like you go to the vet and she's like, okay, I'm going to give her these shots, but also hold on, let me hold this pendulum over the different ingredients, and I'm getting chicken and peas and rice. Go.
That sounds like a vet that I would visit.
100%.
Anything else, record keepers of Squeezil, you need me to know? No. Is she okay? Not sick? No. Not unhappy? No. Oh, last question I have, and then I want Cassidy to ask some out of left field questions. If I get a cat also, yes. She does miss the cat. I thought so. I miss my cat too. I've been missing her lately. She's in Colorado, if you're wondering. And so if we got a cat, obviously it needs to be a dog-friendly cat, a cat-friendly dog. But she misses the cat. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so I can be a 2-dog, 1-cat house? Yes. I'm going to ask personal advice real quick from Squeezil's record keepers. Can I do that? Yes. So, gosh, what do I need to know? Yes? Can I help you? She's trying to get in my lap real bad right now. She's like, you're talking to my beings. I want to be a part of this. Okay, here, I'll do a random thing. So I keep considering getting a new car again, like trading my car in for an SUV that's bigger, because it's like real winter here and I kind of want to feel safer. I have my 4-wheel drive, so that's good. And I have my winter tires, so that's good. Is now a good time? No, definitely not. Okay. Can I ask you guys stuff in general? They're like, yeah, we're part of the light. Why not? And we were given to you. Squeezil was brought into your life to be an angel in your life, a guardian angel, a source of love, a source of connection to the divine. So of course you can ask us stuff. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. How are we looking for the January 29th show? Am I on track with that? So I'm making a show, everybody. A show. We'll put the link to the show in the something associated with this episode. Did I talk about it last time? The show? Okay, so the show is a stand-up comedy show with spiritual teachings and energy healing in the show. So I'm going to do a healing for the group, maybe more than one. Yes, come on over. She's insisting on getting in my lap right now. Can you hurry it up? Because I got stuff to say. January 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the internet, I'm going to do this show, and it's through an association in Pittsburgh that is like a energy healing, trauma therapy combinee organization called OMA, O-M-A. Anyway, I'm excited about that. You guys are, whoever's listening, you're all invited. Am I on the right track with that? Okay. Do I need to be? No. Okay. Yeah, they're like, you know what you're doing. Trust. Just have a general outline. You already know. You can slot in a couple jokes here that you know you'll do this joke in this section, this joke in this section, but then let yourself be free. It can be as improvised as you feel. It should be, because you do well in that way. Have an outline of topics you want to hit. You'll know the moment or moments. There will be 2 moments in the hour when you want to do healing work. You'll know when they are. It'll be very obvious. And I think my last question would be like, do we have their cameras on, or do we have the audience's cameras off? On. Okay. On it is. Because we weren't sure about that. Okay, well, that was cool. I'm learning all kinds of things. Cassidy, what random shit would you like to ask my dog's record keepers?
Mine, I've been curious about this for a while. Does Squeezil have any direct relationship to Tiny.
Oh.
And I don't know if the listener, I think the whole Tiny ordeal unfolded before we started the podcast.
I think you're right. Yeah, I know you're right.
But just for the listeners, Tiny was Katie's dog that got out while being dog sat and never was found. And it was a deep trauma and intense few months of constant searching for this being. Sorry to bring it back up, but, you know, it was real. And I'm wondering if Squeezil has any relationship to Tiny.
I get a no. That's so interesting that I've never asked that before. No, and here's the thing. Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. Well, so they're like, Tiny was a dog you were saving. You were helping her. She brought you love. You know, you loved having her. You weren't quite ready for a dog at the time, but you saved her. And then when she got out, it was okay because she got saved again. Squeezil is a dog saving you. And you saved Squeezil. Like, you and Squeezil have kind of a mutual relationship, like a relationship of equals. Whereas with Tiny, it was like a teenager adopting a child. So the teenager wasn't quite ready for a child, and the child really needed help, but it wasn't like a pairing of equals. And so this is, you could say it's like a more mature relationship. And you were ready this time. And the timing was right. And we, by the way, we in the realm of light, your guides, your angels, your team, Squeezil's guides, angels, and team, we all collectively said, those two together now. Yeah, and we knew it better than you knew it and better than Squeezil knew it. And so we facilitated it occurring. And we want to say, that is a funny sentence, but Squeezil is a more evolved being than Tiny was. And that's not a judgment of Tiny. Tiny was a wonderful little beast. But Squeezil is just a little more advanced. She's more intelligent. She's more evolved. She's lived more lifetimes on Earth. She knows what's up. She kind of knows what's up. She's wise. Whereas Tiny was kind of like, I don't know, this is cool. What are we doing now? And that's not what your soul needed in a dog partner. And there you have it.
That is actually the question I had most at hand. I don't know if I have any other silly questions, but
what about something for you personally? Like anything
for me personally? I mean, I've never met Squeezil because Squeezil came into your life, right?
No, you met Squeeze.
In Colorado. Wait, when did you get Squeeze?
California. Well, did we hang out after COVID started?
Yeah, once or twice. Well, I helped you move. So Squeezil was around then, yeah.
Yeah, you met her then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, but I dig that dog. Dig dog. I dig that dog. Yeah, well, I don't know, Squeeze, do you have any perspective, or Squeezil's record keepers, because you are there to look after Katie, and I'm connected to Katie. Do you have anything that I need to be, that I'm missing? I feel like there's something I'm ignoring or missing in something that I need to be doing, and especially maybe something related to you. I'm filling in the blank in my head as I ask the question. So, but I'm curious what they have to say about it.
When you can you? I don't help me understand what you're asking.
I don't even, like things that we've, like our writing project, for example. I feel like, we had just recently said like, hey, we should start that up again, and you got a message, and I'm wondering if they have any perspective on that.
Okay, they give me an answer that feels kind of unrelated to what you're asking. It's almost like they want to give you something, but it's not about doing stuff. Interestingly, I'd like it to be, personally. Okay, so our interest for you is because remember, we are simply emissaries of divine light. Our particular job, which is the focus of most of our energy, is being the record keepers of this particular being. That being said, we are merged into the realm of the oneness, so we see all, feel all, know all. So our interest with you lies in your second chakra, low belly, and in you developing it's like a smoothing out of a jagged-edged frequency that's somewhere between the first and second chakras. And this will come through, they're like, even though you say on a certain level, I can't believe I need any more time alone. There can't possibly be more time alone that I need. Like, haven't we all had enough time alone? They say it's not about the amount of time alone, it's about the quality of time alone, which is to say, the next times that you're alone or aren't sure what to do with yourself, instead of looking for something new to do outside and they show me, you're like this. Do I do that? Do I do this? Do I do it here? Do I do that? What do I do? What do I do? Which is in the head, and the head is pulling you around like this, pulling, left, right, up, down. They say, drop into the space between the first and second chakras, which are like down at the Unahapili, down there, the Dantian, and sit with what's there. We would love to see that jagged energy. It's like if you imagine it like a ball, like a pent-up ball of energy that has like a sphere that has, how do I describe that? Like if you picture like a koosh ball. Remember the koosh balls? Yeah. Or if you imagine like a sphere, like a softball, but it has bumpy edges and little sticky outy parts, and it's got complicated edges. We'd like to see that smoothed out and integrated with the rest of your being. In other words, there's a part of you that's walled off from the rest of you, which is quite common. We don't mean to be emergency. It's not an emergency. It's just a part that needs integrating that creates a sense of wholeness and a sense of peace within yourself and calm that you already have a lot of, but there's more available. And we just want you to know there's more available. And it's very simple for you. All you have to do is go in there, sit there, notice what's there, feel what's there, stay there while you feel it, and then you're done. And do that a bunch of times, and it'll transmute and integrate into the rest of you, leaving a kind of smooth energy there. And they're bringing me back now to the smooth energy of Squeezil, like her record keepers, right? When we open, we were talking, Katie's trying to describe that space of Squeezil's, records. And what that frequency is that she was trying to describe is the frequency of wholeness and integration with no frayed edges internally and no parts of self that are de-integrated from the rest of the self. And this is one of the gifts that animals bring humans in this 3D reality. There's something flying in the sky outside that's like, I sure hope that's an airplane. That was wild. Sorry. It'd be cool if we had like a UFO during Squeezil's reading. So the frequency of Squeezil's being and her essence and her in the records is the frequency of full integration with no disruptions to the field. And that's what we are experts at. We, the beings of light that live in the records of animals. So we're experts at showing you where your frayed edges are, unintegrated parts, and where you could use some smoothing out. Okay. Does that all make any kind of sense?
I think so. Yeah. Cool.
Do you have any questions about that part or anything else, or you know what it is?
Not really. I just take that in. I don't really have any clarifying questions right now. Yeah, that's good. I think we should probably wrap this up so we can move on to the next thing at some point. Yeah, but that No, that's interesting. I like the connection between like the animal smoothness and that is what is being sort of headed towards.
Yeah, that was an interesting connection point. But it makes sense when they say it. It's like, that's what animals are. Like if you think about a tiger in nature, right? They're so elegant and smooth and like sexy kind of, and it's because they're fully integrated. Like they didn't have like childhood mommy trauma that led them to hate their vulnerable parts. They're just like, I am one sleek, integrated, sexy bitch who like kills shit and then licks her paws and then has the sex and then sleeps under the stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're very whole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Cassidy doesn't care, Squeezil, but I care.
I do.
I care.
No,
I care about
I'm
you.
just thinking a lot. I'm in my head, but
Oh, really?
yeah. I'm just like, I'm just thinking through the sort of like that they of course have what one might view as like conflict or whatever. Like, oh, I'm don't have dinner for my children tonight or whatever, but it's not, then you just solve that. You go and you take care of that. Then it's not, you don't think about it. You don't. So like that energy of like instinct, not as like an overwhelming force, but as an integrated concept. Like,
right.
What
like
is
I
next?
would say they might have a life problem, but not an internal self problem.
Right. It's not an egoic problem. It's just like,
yeah, or it's not an injury to the field that has to
Right.
be healed. It's just like must have meat.
Yeah.
All right. We want to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I'm going to close it up. And the Lords of the Records for their point of view and the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. I ask that you return all of Squeezil the dog's energy to herself, even though I like being with her soul. I say you return her to her complete doggy wholeness. She is so curled up in my lap right now. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Squeezil the dog are now closed. Amen. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Squeezil the dog are now closed. Amen. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Squeezil the dog are now closed. Amen, 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 amen. Oh, beast, what do you say? She just hit her head in my armpit. Okay, no more records for you. Damn it, I love this dog. Okay, you guys, well, we did improv. We were very ridiculous. We talked to my dog's guides. We learned about vegetables. Cassidy knows where he needs to do his work. Squeezil's gonna fart a lot. That's just the way of the world. And it's been fun spending time. Hey, thank you for joining our Patreon, new patron. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you told me that. Do you know I still have not even tried one time to figure out how to get the money out of that? I have no idea where it is.
Let's
how
hop
it is.
on a call.
Okay. You're like, bitch, handle it. Okay. Well, it's good to see you guys. I love you. I hope I'll see you again soon.
I do too. Do your work.
Do your work. Bye.
What are you asking for? All of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you.
So remember, Katie, double tap your audios. Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.